All right, guys, we are live. I don't remember the last time we did this, but hey, sometimes there are things that happen. I mean, we probably would have gone live when Jazz Chisholm was, traded for, but we had John Morosi coming on, so we kind of couldn't do that. So sometimes when things like this just happen, we're going to go live, and at some point, we want to have a live show for the people that are into that live viewing experience. So, yes, this is Yankees Unloaded. Don't adjust your television sets. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. And that is right. That you are not seeing things wrong here. That thumbnail, that title, Jasson Dominguez has been called up to the Yankees a little bit before we thought he was going to get called up. And they used a little manipulation of the IL to do it. And in addition to that, John Birdie, who was literally had a hit in every single game in his rehab assignment. It's the longest rehab assignment I've ever seen in my life. Ever. Both of these guys, to be honest with you. He is called up as well. He is not in the lineup today. And right after, I'll say this because I don't think I even sent this to you as a text, Gary. Right after we drop, for the first time in a long time, we talk about Anthony Volpe. He's surprisingly out of the lineup today.
Isn't it? Okay, so how many games has Volpe sat? I mean, let's be real.
Like,
what, 3?
3 all year, maybe.
Yeah, I was at Chick-fil-A through drive-thru, and I told my wife, I said, do you think they listen to the podcast? Because, I mean, we don't want to take away from today's topic and Jasson Dominguez, because clearly that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
But the fact that Anthony Volpe is not playing today, the chances of that it's actually statistically less than 1%. So just to be safe, we'll say that they're not making decisions based on what we say on this pod, but it is amazing how that worked out.
It was pretty funny. And our guy, Oswaldo Cabrera, who hasn't played in a decade, he's now back. I'm kidding, of course, but it hasn't actually been a decade. Yeah, I mean, but, this is one of our, I don't think we've done a live stream pregame like this. So
no, we haven't done a live stream. No, we definitely haven't. And so, Jake, I guess the question is how much better did the Yankees really just become? Because we're now calling up a player that the Yankees are trying to sell us on the fact that he just became good enough to be called up to this team. Now, for those of you who forgot or weren't there for the episode, Jake and I actually were trying to figure out predictions as to when Jasson Dominguez would be called up. We were trying to use math equations, right? Trying to figure out at bats wise what he could stay under, potentially go past. And we came up with this Thursday. This is like 2 months ago. We came up with September 12th. And it just so happened, Jake, he was not called up September 1st. We were right about that. And he ended up getting called up September 9th. So we were close. So again, the question is, you get Alex Verdugo off the field in theory long-term. Maybe not today, but long-term Alex Verdugo should be losing his spot there. How much better did this team just get? Because in my estimation, we are night and day better just by getting that player off the field.
I could not agree more. I really could not agree more. It's not even going back to Alex Verdugo. It's not even the glove that really bothers me because, I mean, he's playing a slightly below average left field, was good the first half of the season. It's the lack of effort. It's the lack of hustle. It's the constant weak ground balls. I'm tired of it. I'm so over it. And I'm just over Alex Verdugo's tenure in New York, if I'm being blatantly honest. Now, I will say he's nowhere near as bad as Joey Gallo. So I want to give him credit there. He's not the worst Yankee ever, but it's been really frustrating to see somebody who I think is capable of more is just doing a lot less. And, I'm really excited about this move because, I mean, it's a little weird today in the lineup. Like, people are saying this is the best lineup we've seen all year. I don't know if I agree with that because Stanton's not in it. Like, you're taking Stanton out of it to give Judge a DH spot. Right. And then you're going out of your way to keep Alex Verdugo in this lineup, essentially. And you're admitting that he's not even close to Jasson Dominguez because Dominguez, who, was blocked, is now hitting in the 6th hole. And you have Alex Verdugo who's hitting 9th behind Oswaldo Cabrera, who hasn't played in like 12 games.
Yeah, we got a lot better. And then obviously by choice, we got worse. So I guess long-term, and we'll figure out where we stand probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
What does this Yankees lineup actually look like when Giancarlo Stanton, because Stanton's not playing anywhere other than DH. And then when Aaron Judge is in his traditional position, which is center field, My assumption is that tomorrow we see Jasson Dominguez in left field. And I love actually where he's at in terms of the lineup. We talked about this. We think that Gleyber Torres, he's played exceptionally well at the leadoff position ever since Aaron Boone actually put him back there. Remember, he started there. You've mentioned this. He started at leadoff. He did not perform at all. Anthony Volpe started off red hot, 7th or 8th in the lineup. We eventually swapped those two players. Well, Gleyber Torres right now has solidified himself as a player who's seeing pitches. He's getting on base. He's doing what we're asking him to do. You don't need to steal bases. You got Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. But now that those guys are solidified in the lineup where they are, putting Jasson Dominguez in the 6th spot, you're talking about Stanton, Wells, right? So a lot of guys who have solidified themselves in the center of this lineup. Well, when you add Jasson Dominguez and what he can do, we saw it last year. We get that version of Jasson Dominguez. We got a lot better. Baltimore has to be looking at this team thinking, are we better than the Yankees with Jackson Holiday and then their team adding Jasson Dominguez? Who's the better baseball team right now? And I'm not to say the Yankees should be just clapping because they're going to be winning a World Series, but you can't tell me Baltimore's feeling confident in this stretch run we have.
No, I absolutely agree. I don't think Baltimore should feel confident at all. They haven't been able to get anything done. I think going into this whole thing, back at the stadium and everything, the Yankees needed to be back home. They're back home. They got Carlos Rodon on the bump. I think tonight is a win. I think they are going to see a lot out of Jasson Dominguez because Jasson Dominguez, and I'm going to make this argument for you. I think we saw Jasson Dominguez's worst game as a pro when he was called up because he knew he was getting sent back down. Not on purpose. Right. He wasn't trying to, he wasn't trying to sabotage. It wasn't self-sabotage. I think he truly had that in his mind, and I think it ate him alive. And it definitely ate him alive on that throw at the end of the game. I mean, that's how I feel. So I think he was thinking too much, wasn't able to just be himself. Now that he's called up, I understand there's a lot of like the whole, when they have pressure on them, they play better, contract year, more at stake. And normally I understand that narrative. We've also seen that go south when there's too much pressure. We saw that with Gleyber Torres, right? So I will say that I think we're going to see Jasson Dominguez continue doing what he was doing in AAA. And the questions are not going to be, where's Jasson Dominguez going to be in this lineup or, whatever, or, it's not even going to be about Jasson Dominguez. It's going to be about what the hell were you thinking waiting this long? Who cares about manipulation? Who cares about his Rookie of the Year status? When you see what this kid's going to do the rest of, September going into October, I think people are going to be like, wow, even in, because this is going to be, I'm telling you, this is going to be what ends up ultimately leading to a Yankees AL East win. I think that they're going to win the division now. But
they definitely should.
They should.
But won't we judge this team based on what they do in October anyway? So realistically, I totally agree with you. It is a shame what they've done with service time manipulation and trying to figure out when's the perfect time to call up a prospect because we want to protect those at bats and future draft picks, right? And protect Jasson Dominguez's ability to go out there and win Rookie of the Year next year, which we've mentioned is not easy to do, regardless of how good of a player you are. You need to be healthy. You need to perform. Well, having considered all that, if the Yankees go win in October, right? Jasson Dominguez plays a huge role in that. He's just a piece of a championship team. We're probably not even thinking about service time anymore. That conversation probably goes away. So part of me is confused and dumbfounded about the decisions about when this happened. But at the same time, like always, we need to be consistent about when we're judging these teams. This team is going to be judged in October. And if this team shows up with Jasson Dominguez and we find out, Rodon wasn't, he wasn't serviceable the way we needed him to be. Jasson Dominguez, Anthony Volpe, they don't perform in October, like they give nothing. Well, if this team goes home, we're not necessarily going to care. And the conversation is going to come back to service time. But if this team wins, Jake, now suddenly all is forgiven. So I think a lot of people in the comments are probably upset about how long we had to wait. The fact that we had to wait an extra week and a half for this to occur. And I'm right there with you guys. I think it's ridiculous that went down. We have to see DJ LeMahieu go down with a phantom injury. We know DJ LeMahieu's not hurt. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous conversation. The fact that they're putting him on the IL, we understand what happened there, but we are very excited about Birdie's return. This Yankees team got a lot better by not making any trades. And this is something that Brian Cashman usually says, but the deadline's passed. It's gone. There's nothing that I can do. There's nothing Jake can say that people can use and now make a decision. We now have to look at this team and say, considering what we've done and what we've built, everything the Yankees have done, they have been awful against teams below 500. They have been exceptional against teams above 500, and that all landed them a half a game ahead of the Baltimore Orioles. So no matter what you think about this division race, everything led us to here, which is a division lead. And now you add Jasson Dominguez, you take Alex Verdugo off the field, you take DJ LeMahieu off the field, which our comment section has been asking us to find a way to get DJ off this field for months now. It's been a long time, Jake. This is not something new. So now that you consider that, you replace DJ with Birdie, you replace Verdugo with Dominguez, you allow Volpe to take a day off, and then hopefully he can be rejuvenated tomorrow. How much better is this Yankees team? Are they a potential World Series champion, or are we pretenders the way that we've been the past 14 years? We're going to find out.
We are really going to find out. And you know what? Now, regardless, if you're one of those people that defends Aaron Boone, and I mean, we've defended Aaron Boone before, so I'm not going to act like we've never done that. But if you're one of those people that defends Aaron Boone and blames everything on Cashman, which, by the way, this was on Cashman, this was not on Boone.
Absolutely.
But if you're one of those people, well, now he's got stuff to play with. He's got toys to play with. He's got a lot of different options. You have, just the idea that you have Birdie now. Which it's kind of funny how Birdie's not in the lineup, but like Volpe's not in the lineup. So they gave it to Cabrera of all days. But I'm not complaining because I think it's great. Get Cabrera ramped up. I think he's going to be, an asset in the postseason, whether he's starting or not. I think that's a big deal. I want to give a shout out to you guys. You guys are freaking unbelievable. 176 people in right now.
Yeah. And we're just getting started. And imagine when
crazy.
This Yankees team actually proves what needs to be proven, because think of it this way, right? You have people who are in our comment section, and they mean well. These are still baseball fans. I have nothing against them. Mm-hmm. And they actually put in the comment section all of this for a wild card exit. And Jake, I know part of you probably thought I would never address this, but part of me thinks that that's true. Not saying we're going to be eliminated in the wild card, but hear me out here. I actually believe in the idea that the Yankees need to prove themselves. Jake, do you remember the comparison that we've made for the past really several months with this podcast?
Dallas Cowboys.
Right now, we are a marketing machine. We are.
Yeah.
And we have the potential to go be a winning franchise. We feel like we're there, but certain decisions have to be made differently if you want to go out there and actually execute in October. And we are going to continue to podcast about what those things are. Now, when we do that, there's a reason we're building this audience that we're building, is because other people feel the same way. Other people think we do have something to prove. No one cares that you won a championship in 1998. Nobody cares that you won a championship in 2000. All that stuff is awesome. We can reminisce about it some other day, but it's not going to be today on this show. We're going to talk about what this team has to do to win a championship in 2024. And a huge thing to do was calling up Jasson Dominguez, who we saw today. So I'm just glad that we didn't have to wait even another week, because that week wait possibly could be the difference between beating out Baltimore or going on the road and playing a Cleveland team that, frankly, we shouldn't have to go play. So I like what this says. We're a team that's we've won 4 games, our last 10. So right now, Jake, we don't necessarily have all the momentum in the world, but having said that very poor week and a half of baseball we just saw, well, don't you feel rejuvenated coming into this game today with Jasson Dominguez in the lineup? So, I mean, come on now. And by the way, we have a super chat from Jasmine Drury. DJ Verdugo and Volpe going to make a difference. Well, actually, the absence of Verdugo, which actually, by the way, Jake, do you know that we did mention that Alex Verdugo, maybe he just needs a break, right? We've actually mentioned this, and we said the same thing, right? We said the same thing about Gleyber Torres. The best thing for this guy is to get him off the field and tell him, if you're not going to play well, we're going to hold you accountable, and you can come sit right here next to Aaron Boone. Well, what if Alex Verdugo's of the same cloth? Don't tell him that he needs to play better. Show him. Sit him down on the bench. take him out of left field. And you know what? If you find a situation where you think he can make an impact off the bench, let him go earn a role off this bench in October, because he's still a player who's performed well at the big league level. I just don't think at this point, after everything we've seen, he's earned a starting position on this team. I just don't.
No, I don't either. And I do think that Alex Verdugo makes the Yankees better if they use him the right way. Having him as a bench guy in the postseason, that's actually an asset. And you know me, I'm not one of those people that will just say this player's trash, because I come from the business of, especially doing a lot of scouting for the NFL, just doing draft scouting and whatnot. I come from the business of not everybody has a role that they would want, but everyone can have a role. And it may not be glamorous, but that's why you have sub-package players, practice squad, all of that. Okay, Alex Verdugo is good enough to be in the MLB, without a doubt. But is he good enough to start right now? No. So I think he could actually be an asset for them off the bench in October. I believe that, both with the glove and the bat. Because who are you going to get off the bench that's better than an Alex Verdugo, that's better than a John Birdie? So I really like that. We're going to keep this up, by the way, because we have a lot of members. And I want to actually, moving forward, because, we didn't have members as an option when we did our last live stream. And I think we had 40 people we maxed out in that one. We're at 216 now. You guys are the best. But I want to say, moving forward, if you are a member of any kind, you don't have to be a field level member. We will shout you out on the actual live streams. We will post your comment. So that's what we're going to do from now on. So any members will get member shout outs in the comments. If you want to be a field level member, sign up for that. You get access to mailbag and we'll answer your questions on the show. Red Sox fan for a couple of days, Egyptian magician. I get it. I totally get it.
How about Sierra and O'Malley, by the way, talking about momentum, right? Now is the time to build momentum. Of course. Yeah, absolutely. You're a team that, Frank, you lost yesterday, right? Like I said, you won 4 games your last 10. You're not streaking. Baltimore's playing 500 ball their last 10 games. They're not streaking. They lost 2 games in a row. So who wants this division? I actually tweeted this. Who wants this division? Do you want it or not? Well, the Yankees calling up Jasson Dominguez, if he's anything close to what we saw last year at the end of the year, the Yankees just added a top of the order bat in the 6th spot. So we can talk all day long about the fact that maybe Anthony Volpe should have been playing today. Maybe Giancarlo Stanton should have found his way on the field. Well, I'm not going to lose sleep over Giancarlo Stanton being out of your lineup if you can just replace him with a player as dynamic as Jasson Dominguez. Jasson Dominguez was untradeable, according to the Yankees, for a reason. There was something he was doing. And in my opinion, it's not just about talent. It's about fit. We saw so many people talking to us about speed, talking to us about youth, right? Jasson Dominguez provides all of these things. And most importantly, he provides a bat to the team that ranks number 2 in baseball, number 1 in the American League in runs scored. So if you think this team didn't get a lot better today, well, you're going to be very surprised. So I'm excited for what happens. I absolutely believe in momentum. And by the way, Jake, this is the first opportunity in a long time the Yankees have to go out and dominate a September. Go out and win in September. The last 4 seasons, we actually brought the numbers up. This team is below 500 in September. Should be the most important games of the year. And you cannot tell me that losing in September and then suddenly you're just going to turn on winning in October. I think winning now is going to be the most important thing we'll ever do for this year.
Absolutely. And remember, we've made this a big deal on our show, going back to the first episode, revving up, right? And what do I mean when I say revving up? Well, you guys, essentially, spring training is the rev up process, because you're about to play 162 games. You're about to run a mile, but you're not stretching. Like you're not going to do that. That's ridiculous. So spring training is like the stretching. It's like going through like the rehabilitation process, getting yourself back up to date, because there is some time off after October, and players like to eat things, and we know that, right? Obviously. But these guys are professional athletes that they know when push comes to shove, they need to get themselves ready in mind, body, and soul by March, April. And not everyone does. And when you have injuries like what happened to Garrett Cole, he wasn't able to. So why did I apply it just now? Well, because Jasson Dominguez might be revved up to completely slay AAA like he's been doing, but he needs to see MLB pitching. We need to get him ready for the postseason. It's that simple. If he's not ready to go, you can't just, this is why they had to call him up now. And this is why we've talked about this, because the sooner they call him up, the more pitches and the more, pitchers and different, things he's going to see. And he's going to get acclimated to the speed of the game again. He's going to be back to, being an MLB player, a confident MLB player, build his confidence. And then you can rely on him in October. You can't rely on a 21-year-old kid who you're not even playing in, the MLB. And then you're like, oh yeah, go out there and help us win baseball games in October. It's not going to happen. So Gary, that's the big thing, is that they're calling him up. They're getting him revved up for the big dance. And I love that.
How about the pairing of Jazz Chisholm and Jasson Dominguez, by the way? Because that's something that we didn't talk about. When we brought Jazz Chisholm to this roster, and obviously we didn't do it, but Brian Cashman did, we talked about him. You actually mentioned him as a potential player who could become a star in this league. And I mentioned, I just needed him a star in his role. I need him to be a more dynamic player than what we're used to in New York, right? We've talked about it with Anthony Volpe. What does Anthony Volpe actually provide? He provides speed. He's a player who can go out. If he puts the ball in the gap, he can go. You're talking about a player who can hit a triple. This is a player from first base, can score. Jazz Chisholm's of the same mold. Jasson Dominguez is of the same build. So when you talk about a team that you feel like they slap a ball on the ground with a man on first base, it's an automatic double play. Well, we just added a player who takes that away. That's something that's very important. It's a reason why Anthony Volpe was so highly regarded coming into this season, because everyone's looking at it and saying, how many more players like a Giancarlo Stanton or a DJ LeMahieu or a Gleyber Torres where athleticism is not part of their game? It's just not. They have to slug. They have to hit line drives, hard line drives in the gap to make an impact. Jasson Dominguez is the type of player who can drop down a bunt and get on base in a postseason series and change a game with his legs. So that's what's so exciting to me. And to see this, and you get to October, don't be shocked when he actually changes a game with his legs. Don't be surprised at all.
Shout out to Ronnie. So first off,
Ronnie's the man.
Ronnie's the man. Thank you so much for the 20. Thank you so much for you guys for donating. That means a lot. Ronnie is one of the OG supporters of this channel.
Yes, he is.
One of the original commenters in actually every single live stream we've done, including the one that I think we had 11 people. And we're like, yo, dude, we have 11 people. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah. And we're such nerds of the game that we had a blast doing the live show with 11 people, because first of all, if someone's supporting you from the ground, the ground level, they're a supporter of yours. So to see now that we've built this audience that we've built, we're incredibly thankful. People like Ronnie are another reason why we do what we do. But yeah, we're super appreciative. And Jake, I guess we're getting closer to me having to buy that gold mic, huh?
Yeah. Dwayne Wade will be jealous.
That podcast is not going anymore.
UFO in New York, and it's not Independence Day. Anyways, time to tune up for the postseason. Bingo. Get that division. P.S. Jake, Rams killing Lions in the NFC Championship game. Yeah, Ronnie, to add on to that, thank God that I got to wake up to, well, not wake up. It was announced later on the day, but thank God I got to see Jasson Dominguez called up, because after last night, that was heartbreaking. And my Jayhawks lost, which you can see in the corner over there. And the Yankees had lost yesterday. So it was just, I was having a day, but very excited to be here live talking about this. We have some more super chats. I really appreciate you guys. We're going to try to get through all of them here.
I want to talk about that one. Yeah.
Ben Verdugo and DJ when he comes back. Appreciate you for the 2. Thank you so much. I don't think DJ is coming back. We'll get to that though.
You don't?
No. D's channel. Thank you so much for the 5. Just want to say I love tuning in every day for your videos. Keep up the great content. Thank you so much, D. Appreciate that.
Thank you, D. Appreciate it.
So Gary, I guess we might have to do all of our episodes live at this point.
Yeah. Well, can we address can we address what Yasmin said? Because they mentioned Verdugo, the prospect of benching Verdugo and DJ LeMahieu. And here's why I'm actually hopeful about what Aaron Boone can do. And at this channel, we've tried to put a lot of the responsibility of what the lineup turns out to be on Brian Cashman and what's on the roster. Now, remember, when Anthony Rizzo came back to this team, what did Yes Network say? Yes covered it as DJ LeMahieu will be seen maybe once a week. And long and behold, that's exactly what you guys saw. DJ LeMahieu went to a bench role, not a utility role, which he'd been in. We're not sure what he did to earn that in 2024, but that's the position that he was in, right? So once Ben Rice was off the roster, once DJ LeMahieu was off the roster, and you get Rizzo back, you're like, okay, Rizzo should be playing, and that's exactly what we've been seeing. So Rizzo's in there again today. So considering who's back on this team, who was just called up, yes, I absolutely believe you are not going to be seeing those names in this lineup, and it's addition by subtraction at that point. We're talking about two players who have been below league average, and now you're adding the addition of a player that's a potential superstar. He's not in a position to have pressure. He's not hitting leadoff. He's not hitting 2 or 3 or cleanup. He's not in any of those positions where we're going to be demanding him to be excellent. He's hitting 6th for the New York Yankees. You're not going to be able to show up to Yankee Stadium penciling and circling Jasson Dominguez's name on how to stop him. You're going to be worried about the rest of these guys, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find, I don't remember which reporter said it, but Aaron Boone said he's not sure if DJ is going to be back the rest of the year. So
they're saying that's how bad his injury was, or that's how bad
I think they just, they're basically, they probably sat him down. They're like, hey, we don't want to DFA you. We love you in New York. We want this to work. Let's try spring training next year, see if we can get something going. But we need to do what's best for our team. So can you pretend to be injured for like the next, I don't know. And then
is that like when a girl breaks up with you and says she needs to work on herself? We'll try again next year. See after spring break. I mean, what are we talking about? By the way, Jeff J, good afternoon. Appreciate you joining us. Yeah, it's not you, it's me. Let's take some time. I know summer just started. Let's take some time away. We're hitting the postseason.
Oh man.
Let's take a break. We'll see you next spring training, which by the way, if the Yankees win the World Series in 2024, which that's a big if, right? We got to go do it.
Yeah.
If DJ LeMahieu shows back up in spring training and he's hitting 165 in spring training, we'll talk about that stuff then. But let's be happy what's currently happening with the roster, and we'll worry about that stuff later.
What's up, Jeff J? Yeah. So 2 things I want to talk about there, because I mean, I agree with you there. Well, the first thing is I want to mention, just because I always find it funny, for anybody that thinks this is actually like serious and like he's actually hurt. I mean, maybe he is hurt, maybe. But the timing, the way it coincides, because if he was hurt and then they waited until now to do it, then they've been wasting a roster spot for like months or a week or 2 weeks, whatever. Because they said he'd been dealing with this hip for a while. So it's like, why did you waste a roster spot then? Why didn't you put him on IL before?
Couldn't you make the argument, though? I mean, you cover the NFL, right? You cover the Los Angeles Rams, and a lot of us did watch that game last night. It was a great game. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But Jake, wouldn't you make the argument in football and baseball and all these sports that we cover that every single one of these players is dealing with something at some form or another, at some degree? So technically, yes, I'm sure DJ LeMahieu at 36 years old is feeling something. I am hurt now, and I'm 30. Do you know what's hurt on me? My back. And I just got this chair, which you guys can see behind me. This chair is the only reason my back is in any type of shape. Now think about that. My back's hurt just from waking up and podcasting. So I'm sure there's some truth to DJ LeMahieu not feeling 100%, but to the point where he has to go on the IL and potentially not on the field the rest of the year, I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I also feel that back thing. Did not feel great, but I also was hit by a car, to be fair. So
this is true. I was not hit by a vehicle, so I'm not on par with that.
But we do have
Bro thought he was Frogger.
Chat. Bro thought he was Frogger. We have a super chat from Jeff J. Keep the great work going, gents. Fascinating that just a few days, the BS about being in the mix. Now Jasson is finally up where he belongs. Isn't it funny how that works? We appreciate you, Jeff. It is funny how that works, man. It really is. But you know what? Kind of going back to that whole phantom IL thing. Clay Holmes did not understand the assignment. I always bring this up. I think it's the most hilarious thing ever.
It is so funny.
They ask him straight up, like, if he's hurt. And he said, nope, I'm fine. It's like, don't you want to at least go with like what the mission was there? Like
they didn't tell you literally.
They tell you the plot. Hey, we're gonna fake an injury here, so we can call up somebody else and give you some rest. And you're just gonna be like, yeah, like you're hurt, whatever. And then first thing reporter asks, are you injured? He's like, nope, I'm good. He's on, like he just got placed on the IL that day.
Well,
he's like, yeah, we're good.
These guys to be a little more honest with us, and that is part of honesty. So if you really think about what's happening with the Yankees, Jake, there's actually a lot to be excited about. The Yankees have finally removed Holmes from the closer's role. They put him in the 8th inning. You guys just saw him dominate. He wasn't just good. He didn't just have his command. He dominated the 8th inning. Okay, so he's out of the closer's role. You saw Weaver. Right? We got the double-barreled action with Nestor Cortez and Schmidt.
That was so much fun.
It was unbelievable what we saw. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to give Boone any credit. We are going to criticize Aaron Boone a lot. We watch every show, every game. We do a show every day. We are going to criticize him. And if you know anything about the show, we have not pulled back any punches. But when he does something right, we're going to talk about it. And this week, there have been a lot to go right. And now finally, you had the Jazz Chisholm trade, and all the trades with the bullpen were awful, objectively terrible. But you get Jazz Chisholm and you call up Jasson Dominguez. I think we've got a shot. Jake, I'm sitting here looking at the standings. Which of these teams really terrify you? Obviously, we're not afraid of the Baltimore Orioles. We really took care of them the last time we saw them. So not to say I have expectation to just go dominate this team. They're a good team in this league. But am I afraid of the Baltimore Orioles? No, not really, because a lot of the times when people criticize our team, what do they tell you? Well, we don't have the bullpen pieces. We can't close down a close game. Does Baltimore's bullpen's much worse than ours. It's awful. They don't have a closer. And then the guy who should be their closer, and Bautista, he's gone for the year. So he's not in the equation. So Baltimore cannot get outs late in games. Cleveland absolutely can, but we've proven we have a much better lineup than Cleveland, right? Kansas City, we're about to see where we stack up with them this week. So that's a really good test for this Yankees team. Perfect timing to call up Jasson Dominguez. And then the Houston Astros were the team that we have penciled. The Houston Astros are a team that their starting rotation is not what it used to be. So this Yankees team, that's really the number one offensive team in the American League, has to think they're going to beat up on Houston. They have to believe that. So that's really it as far as the contenders in the AL. Why would the Yankees feel like they can't get out of the American League? And we talked about it, Jake. This team's goal at the least, you have to make a World Series in 2024. And then we start talking about bringing Juan Soto back. But anything south of a pennant, Jake, that's a failure.
No, I agree. They have to get to the World Series. They have to. And I understand, you might not win the World Series. It's kind of at that point, it's a crapshoot. We don't know what the status is between, the injuries and all of that. I can understand if the Yankees want to look at it that way, organizationally, but you can't tell me getting to the World Series is a crapshoot. It's when you get to the World Series, winning the game, that's different. There have been plenty of teams in the past that weren't the better team, and they found a way to prevail in those 7 games. And it was fluky, but they came through at the right moments, and they're etched in history. No one cares about flukiness when you win a championship.
I thought Arizona was the better team in last year's World Series. Then you have Seawald go out there, blow a game, right? Corey Seager takes him deep, and that whole series got flipped up on its head.
White Sox.
Yeah, White Sox scare us all, Egyptian and Magician. I swear to you, you'll never see a normal name on YouTube.
Did you see when they ran into each other the other day? That was the worst play.
Wait, was it in left field?
Yeah.
I did see it.
And the Mets won because of it, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Or no, the Orioles, I think it was, right? Orioles, Mets, I don't remember.
Regardless, it's obviously the Chicago White Sox are not a big league team.
No.
It's not a Major League Baseball team. But I guess what's important here, Jake, is that the Yankees are not amazing. We have absolutely covered this team for exactly what they are. They are a team whose top prospect for the time being, right, this past few months, and Anthony Volpe has been wildly underwhelming offensively. He's been spectacular defensively. He's obviously made some key errors that have lost us some games, but overall, the glove's been exceptional. It was exceptional last year. It is exceptional again this year. But as far as I'm concerned, the Yankees needed another punch. I think the Yankees needed more. Even though the Yankees have scored a lot of runs, the number 2 offense in Major League Baseball, I think the Yankees needed a shot in the arm to get more athletic, to show up to a game and feel like if we don't hit homers, what you saw in that Chicago series where we couldn't hit a home run, it was literally just hurricane winds. The Yankees almost felt like they couldn't score. It seemed that way. Well, you bring Jasson Dominguez in there. Jasson Dominguez is a guy who can hit a single and he can steal second and third base. All that dynamic that like Jazz Chisholm provides, I think Jasson Dominguez has every bit as much talent, if not more, than Jazz Chisholm. I really believe that. And I don't really see how the Yankees possibly don't believe it because they didn't put him in trades. So I don't know. I don't know if everybody else is excited as we are, but we've got game time in 17 minutes. I mean, it's going to be a good time.
My excitement's through the roof. I mean, I might not be showing it because I've been making content since yesterday at 1 a.m. yesterday. So,
remember when you told us you slept? You don't sleep.
I do every now and then. I mean, come on. Now I'm covering 2 professional teams playing 2 different sports. You
true.
are too, technically. So there you
I
go.
am too.
So we both are. Interesting combination: Yankees, Rams, Yankees, Eagles. That's interesting.
Yeah, chose the Eagles. Dad's a Cowboys fan, so I did the opposite. And then I was a Yankees fan because of George Steinbrenner. And I feel like if your dad plays for a sports team, I don't give a rip what anybody says. I'm allowed to do that. I could choose whatever team I want. Braves, Dodgers. I could have chosen any of them, and I don't really see how anyone could have had a problem with it. But I mean, the fact that I chose the Yankees, I mean, now that we run a podcast, I mean,
it's worked out pretty well. We have the best fans, period.
It's not close.
It's not. All right. I'm going to go as far as to say this. Rams fans that are watching this might have an issue. I don't care. The Yankees fans are the best in all of sports, period. We started this show we started the channel in February. I think that was the first time we made a video. And we went on a decent, like, not a hiatus, but we took a while we didn't hit our stride.
Who's we? I was in Europe. That's why we didn't do any shows. I was literally in Europe for multiple weeks. It was my honeymoon. So I feel like people would understand that. But I mean,
I wasn't going to go full Nestor Cortez on your ass. Like, oh yeah, Stroman over there is not. No, he didn't say that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Are you kidding me? I was the workhorse. Like, I wasn't going to do that.
I was not the workhorse in this situation. I was in Milan, not spending any money because I mean, I could not afford anything in Milan. Let's just say that it was a very expensive trip. But in general, this show is pretty new. I mean, in the fact that we have over 300 people in here, and we feel like it's a realistic group. It's not like Twitter, because a lot of times people will go to Twitter and try to make a judgment on what this fan base really is. And I frankly do not think you can go to an Arizona Diamondbacks game and turn to your right or turn to your left or go to any other baseball team's fan base and say, hey, what do you think about the number 4 prospect in your system? And a lot of people at Yankee Stadium know who's in their system,
exactly who that is,
why they're not called up, how they're playing, whose fault it is, and who's pulling one way or the other, what the people in the media are saying. You guys really think that you turn on a Baltimore Orioles game and the average Orioles fan is aware of what their coverage is and who's going to be called up when and how many at bats to talk about service time? They don't know. They don't know any of this stuff. So we have a special group. And then of course we obviously put out content that's specifically tailored to people like this. We don't love analytics. We don't, but
they're a tool. They're useful.
They're a tool. You know, I think we're using them in a way that is how they were intended when they were invented. And now analytics are used as really a cop out to not knowing baseball at all, or it's okay to be wrong about baseball. But when you're in a position where you are solely making decisions based on analytics and not one opinion comes out of your mouth, like not one judgment comes out of your mouth, it tells me you're not really thinking about the game of baseball, and it's okay to be wrong. That's something that no one tells you. You can be wrong and still know baseball. But you know when you don't know baseball, Jake? When you're just memorizing a bunch of stat sheets and then you just spit them out on Twitter and just get retweets and likes, and then people are like, yeah, that guy knows ball. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He just copied and pasted notes and then popped them in for me. It's like that. There's some value in it for me and how we apply it, but you can't tell me that analytics are going to create your lineup and then build who you trade for and who you don't. So yeah, we love our audience. You have to, exactly like you see in the comment section, you have to have an IQ and
absolutely
at least have the nerve to think about what you're saying. And we have an audience that does that.
Yeah. And going into this game, the Yankees are going to have to give it their all. I mean, this is a team that is on a 4-game winning streak. They have 79 wins. The Royals have been a really good team. They just haven't won on the road. So are they going to be able to do that? This is where Yankees Unload gives you a little bit more than maybe some other stuff. So I'm going to throw this out there right now. So the Yankees have career splits against Singer. Aaron Judge is 4 for 10, batting 400. Juan Soto bats 400 and 5 at-bats. Gleyber Torres bats 333 and 9 at-bats. You have 2 for 3 out of Wells and a home run, the only one in the lineup with a home run against Singer, hitting 667. Jazz Chisholm bats 333, only 3 at-bats. Anthony Rizzo, 2 for 11, 182. Oswaldo Cabrera, 1 for 5, batting 200. And Alex Verdugo, 2 for 8, batting 250. So and I understand it's a small sample size, but I do think those splits matter. Now on Kansas City's side, you have to watch out for Salvi Perez, because Salvador Perez, 10 for 23 against Carlos Rodon. He's hitting 435 in 23 appearances. That's the most you're going to get out of either lineup. And he's got 2 home runs, 7 RBIs against Carlos Rodon. So I'm looking out for Salvador Perez. For those of you who like, anytime home runs, like betting on that, I would probably bet on Salvador Perez to hit a home run today, because Carlos Rodon always gives up at least 1 home run. It seems like I wouldn't even throw at Salvador Perez, who's batting in the 3rd spot today.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, Carlos Rodon, I mean, if you look at the way that he attacks, he's a guy right now when things are going well. He's a 4-seam fastball guy. He's trying to miss bats. He's not a sinker ball. He's not trying to give up weak contact. He's trying to miss your bat. 4-seam fastballs up in the zone. And then when he's missing, he's up and away. But that changeup has really polished itself out as the season's gone on. That's really cool. So when you see him develop a pitch that's working, I mean, we talked about it. Carlos Rodon needed another pitch. That changeup's been that other pitch. And then, of course, his bread and butter, that power slider. His slider, I don't necessarily worry about. It's the changeup I worry about. It's the fastball location I worry about. And when you're talking about a player like Salvi Perez, he crushes any lefty.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you look at his numbers, his splits against lefties is just dynamic. There's a reason why you turn on MLB The Show and you see when Salvi Perez comes up to the plate, his power bar goes practically off the screen. Yeah, there's a reason for it. He has the pedigree to punish left-handed pitching. Carlos Rodon needs to pick his spots. Obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. is the player he should be circling. But with the pedigree of Perez, both of those players are dynamic today. So it's going to be a tough time through the lineup. But you know what the Yankees did earn this week? And this is what I'm so excited about. They protected that bullpen by pitching multiple starting pitchers to start games. His last series, I believe this bullpen should be fresh for this Kansas City series. And right now, we talked earlier about momentum. Now's the time to get momentum. Not worry, not say, oh, thank goodness it's September 9th and October games are a month away. No, let's pretend today is October. Let's pretend these are must-win games. You know why, Jake? Because if we don't win a lot of these games, we're talking about the Baltimore Orioles as the AL East champions, and that's something that can't happen. So I think this, while we don't want to be a half game ahead of Baltimore, we feel like we should have more. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise to force the Yankees into postseason baseball early.
I like it. I think this is going to be a fun series. I don't think the Yankees sweep the Royals, but I think every game is going to be close. They have great pitching. The Royals have Singer, they have Lugo, and they have Reagans for these 3 games. So you're not dodging any of their good pitchers. you're going up against 3 really good pitchers. Reagan's is underrated, I think.
And that's
not
okay,
much,
honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he has 204 strikeouts in 167 and a third innings. I don't think people are aware of that. Like, that's crazy.
Wait, excuse me, who does?
Cole Reagans has 204 strikeouts this year. Like, he is he's flying under the radar. So I want to give him some praise. Because I know people are going to be quick to be like, I've never heard of this Cole Reagans guy. Why does he have 11 strikeouts? Because that's all he does is strike guys out. So Lugo, we already know Lugo was up there for starting the first game of the All-Star game. He's still really good, and Singer's given the Yankees fits in the past, but this year he has he's walked some guys, and the Yankees have a lineup that has a lot of success against him in a short time frame. But we're gonna wrap it up here. Before we do, just want to let you guys know a few things. So first off, if you like this, be sure to hit the like button, thumbs up button. YouTube is going to team up with you. If you hit the thumbs up button, YouTube now knows you consumed all this content and you liked it. So we're going to send it out to other people on their recommended page. That's how we grow. So would appreciate you guys doing that, because we have, around 300 people and we have 83 likes, which is good. But if we had 300 likes, then YouTube would be like, oh, well, people love this. We'll share it to everybody. So that's first thing. Second thing, if you want to become a member, support the channel further, you can hit the join button below this video. It should be on the left side if you're watching on a desktop, and the right side if you're watching it on a mobile phone or
couldn't just be on the same side, period. But
no,
we're sorry about that.
But that's why the link is always in the description, because not everybody sees the join button. I didn't even know where the join button was, so I just found that out the other day on another live stream. Someone was like, oh yeah, you're saying it all wrong. The join button's actually right below. I was like, oh, that's easy enough.
Sick.
So yeah, hit the join button if you want to become a member. We do shout outs. Of course, we share all the member stuff on, our screen when we do live streams. We might do this more moving forward. But if you want to see this moving forward, then we need likes. And the last thing I'm going to say is this. Gary and I had a cool idea. We have a Discord currently. It's kind of meshed in because I've been covering the Rams since 2016. So it's got like almost 1,000 people in there. And initially we're like, yeah, I mean, if we just put that Discord link, because that's where like Gary and I would do our live streams and talk, gaming and stuff. It's like, yeah, if we just put our Discord link, we'd get a lot of people to sign up. But that might not mesh well, because we have a lot of Rams fans that are obsessed with the Dodgers, and we have a bunch of Yankee fans. It'd just be like weird. So we are going to start our own little community. I mean, we've already done it on here. Yankees Unloaded Discord. It's a 24/7. Just think about this. It's a 24/7 chat. You guys can always have access to it. You can keep that thing running all overnight and everything. And we want to bring pretty much everybody in this community together. So I think that's what we want to do. That's what we're going to do. It's not up yet, but we're going to drop it. And when we do, we'd love you guys to join. It's going to be free. You won't need a membership or anything like that to join the Discord. Other things, we want to add those perks and give those people the opportunity that are members. But everyone is welcome to be a part of that Discord channel. So if you're interested in that, definitely drop in the comments section below. Let us know you're interested. And we'll probably have the link up for you by, I'd say by the time we record the next episode. And who knows, maybe at this point we'll go live again. I mean, if we're getting a turnout like this,
we'll definitely see about that. Because I mean, our game time, we play in what, 4 minutes?
Yeah, we had over 1,000 views in this video.
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna game times in 4 minutes. So this is a playoff game. As far as I'm concerned, this is a playoff game. Kansas City has to win this game as well. They have to play well in this series. So do not overlook Kansas City. I don't really think anybody is. It's wildly understood. This is a good baseball team. They are 2.5 games behind Cleveland. And the way they see it, they've won 4 games in a row. Cleveland's lost 2 games in a row. So they have to believe we've got to go in here and win this series against the Yankees. And the Yankees have to be feeling the same way. You just called up your top prospect, somebody who's playing incredibly well in the minor league level. You have to believe he's going to make an impact. So both teams need these games. This is perfect. We played the Chicago White Sox. We played the Angels. We played the Tigers. Everyone said these are hard games to come up for. These are hard games to get juiced up for because you're the only team that needs the games, right? They made that excuse. There is no excuse in this game. Everyone's going to be watching, everybody. So let's go out and show who we are, and you've got to go out and earn it. Because other than that, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you guys. This is a way for Aaron Judge to prove, yeah, Witt Jr., you're a great player. You're not on my level. Okay, you're not on my level. Let's go out and win.
I love it. Well, it wouldn't be a Yankees Unload episode without wrapping it up with a movie. So, Gary, I'm putting you on the spot here because we don't know. It has to be a good movie because this is good vibes and we'll carry the good vibes in the game. But if you made it this far, you're going to have to put this movie in the chat. And, Gary, what is that movie?
You know, that movie, I'm going to go with one of my favorite baseball movies ever, and that is a Keanu Reeves special. It is Hardball. So if you're still here in this live chat, drop Hardball in the comment section. We'll know you were here. Yeah, and I'm saying that because while the chat might have everybody posting, not everybody is seeing the same time. Some people watch it beforehand, so they'll have a chance to post that. And you guys can post in the regular comment section after this gets uploaded, because right after we finish this, it will turn into a regular video and you'll be able to watch it after the fact. So if you missed anything, definitely go back and watch it. We're excited for tonight. We'll be doing the episode later on, whether it's a live stream or not. That'll be a discussion. You guys definitely made a discussion. This was kind of a fun thing that really, it did very well. We'll just say that. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you soon. And like this video.